This vaping mod, is this anybody's? I thought it might be someone's here. No. Okay. Also, thanks for being here. I usually stand, but I'm going to sit for a minute because I'm old. Also, I want to mention before I forget, check out, there's a Jay and Silent Bob video game coming out.
What?
Yeah, if you go to big.co, it's a crowdsourcing site, and we're at 68%, 12 days left. So they're trying to raise 400,000. I believe it's at 287 or something like that. But anyway, check out fig.co. There's a lot of cool things that go on if you put in $5, $10, 50, something, and something. Also, Mewes Juice. If you do vape, I don't know if any vapors are out there, check out MewesJuice.com. Mewes Juice is my juice I came out with 5 flavors. Sugar tits, yeah. Mewes a latte, $15. Museade and Doobie Snacks. So yeah, so check that out if you vape, please. I have it at my table. Also swing by my table if you guys haven't after this. But yeah, man, I just get into it really, the Q&A and stuff. I appreciate you guys being here. I always mention this because I know there's like cool stuff like The Sword Experience by Adrian Paul. You know, and there's this, the girl from Firefly is on the big stage back there and stuff. So you could be doing that, but you're here listening to my nonsense, so I do appreciate it. Yeah, man, line up if you have a question, you can get right on into it and such. All right, well.
Big to the snake, man. Hey,
you love America? Yeah, America!
Fuck yeah!
Yes!
Not afraid to say it. How much of what you do in all the movies that you've been in with Kevin is scripted, and how much is improv?
Hello. That didn't work, did it? Sorry, it's a little tight. So that's a good question. So with Clerks, it was 100%. There was no ad-libbing. I've told the story before, but I'll tell it again. So when we did Clerks, I was roofing, and Kevin and I have been friends. We went to high school together, and I used to go to that Quick Stop. Kevin really worked at the Quick Stop there. And Dante is based off Kevin. Kevin was going to play Dante, but then he was worried about memorizing all that dialogue and focusing on directing. So then he winded up hiring Brian Holler, and he played Dante. Jeff Anderson, I don't know if anyone watches Comic Book Man. You know Brian Johnson with the beard? Brian is technically Jeff Anderson, Randall. Kevin based Randall off of Brian Johnson, and Brian used to work at the video store. So I used to go help Kevin on Sundays put together these newspapers in Jersey that was called the Asbury Park Press, and they were like 7 or 8 different little slabs of paper that you had to put together to make one big paper. And no one would get up with him at 5:30 in the morning and do that. So, but I did for like free cereal and like $5. But anyway, Kevin, when he wrote the script, said that he thought I was funny, and he thought my sense of humor was funny, and he wondered if other people would find the obnoxious Jay, how Jay is in Clerks. That's how I acted to a T. Things I've said, did, everything but sell weed out in front of the store. I used to hang out in front of the store, Welsh Farms in our town, with my friends, and I'd pull my balls out, I'd yell things to girls driving by, I would dance, and all that stuff. So, Jay in Clerks is exactly how I was at that age. As I got older, 19, 20, I realized I couldn't get away with pulling my balls out because I get arrested and different things. So as the years went on and the movies went on and stuff, Kevin sort of adapted the characters, the Jay character to me, and like Clerks 2, I really went to rehab and really got pulled over for a deployed airbag. And all that stuff. When Jay's like, Ethan's plea comes up and says, "Hey man, where you been?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got sentenced to 6 months in rehab." But as your question, plus I was super nervous when we did Clerks, the first one. I never planned on acting, and when the camera got in front of me for some reason, even though I acted that way, and I was super obnoxious, and if I was in front of people, I feel like I used to do that stuff to entertain myself, not other people. So when it came time to like, hey, be funny, entertain me, say these things, I got real nervous. So Clerks, I stuck to the script to a T because I was too nervous to try to come up with other things. Mallrats, same thing. I was nervous, but not as nervous. I had no choice but to really, do what I had to do. I'll throw this little sidebar story in. So Clerks, I'm talking to you, I guess everyone knows. Clerks, I would get really nervous, so I would wind up drinking a lot to loosen up a little bit. A few times I had to get sent home because I was too wasted, and I passed out on the floor and stuff. But anyway, if we were inside shooting a scene, even though there was only like 10 people there, I would be like, "Cat, man, can you send so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so outside?" Because I was too nervous. And if we were outside shooting, if people were standing around waiting, like, friends that were there helping out, we had people that would help out with the lights and holding the mic and the thing, I'd be like, "Can you send them inside?" I was so nervous and couldn't do it in front of people. So when it came to Mallrats, he's like, "Dude, you can't do that. This is a studio movie. There's going to be..." Shut the fuck! So there's like 30 people on the crew when it comes to shooting studio movies, and you can't ask everybody to go inside or outside and stuff. So I sort of had to if I wanted to do the movie, I had to deal with it. But still, so me telling that part of the story is saying I was still nervous, but I got a little less nervous because I had no choice. But I still didn't ad-lib because I was too nervous. Chasing Amy, same thing. I wouldn't say I wasn't nervous at that point, but there was just the one scene, so I didn't do a lot of playing around. It really wasn't until Dogma that I felt really comfortable and I was able to start throwing in some ad-libs and stuff. But I would say Dogma was 90% scripted, 10% ad-lib. And then with Jay and Bob Strikes Back, I would say 60% to 70% scripted and 30%, 40% ad-libbing. I did more ad-libbing in that movie than the other ones, bless you. Same with Clerks too, I got to play around a little more and such. So as the movies went on, I got to start ad-libbing more, but for the most part, I stuck to the script. But again, the scripts, most of the dialogue and pieces of that was stuff that I've said and have done and the way I acted over the years. Come on in and sit down. Thanks, guys. Fill this sons of bitch. Who did you go see Paige? All right, fair enough. I would go see her too. I wish I knew. I would have told her. I went to her live. So when I first met her, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And she's like, "Come to my Q&A." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come." And she's like, "No, you won't." I was like, "Yeah, I will." So I came and sat in the front, and I harassed her and was making, anyway. So she owes me a Q&A sitting, if you will. But anyway, so I just say as time went on, I get more comfortable. I ad-libbed more and more and more. But I still sort of stick to the script because with Kevin, it's like we sort of have our thing. And it's already written sort of to me and my voice and how things I say and do and all that stuff. Sorry you guys missed that question, but there's always the next. Good enough? Thanks, brother. Next, Mortal Kombat! I tried to find that this morning because I was super sleepy. For some reason I woke up thinking Mortal Kombat. I don't know why, because I was looking through Netflix, and it wasn't the Mortal Kombat movie, it was the TV show they did.
Much better.
Yeah, which was cool, but it doesn't have the song kick off in the beginning, like the movie does. Anyway, so thank you. What's up, bro?
So, kind of two things. One, what's in the pack? I saw you with it yesterday.
Oh, my man bag. So, I keep like silly things. So I keep my phone. I keep lotion in the basket. I have an iPad in case, this is for like if I go eat, I have to watch TV unless I'm at home and I have to sit, my wife makes me sit at the dinner table if she cooks. So the rule in the house is if she cooks dinner, I have to sit at the dinner table and I can't watch TV. And you know, of course, we have the baby now, so like I feed the baby and then we play and stuff. But if we order out, then I can sit and watch TV. But if I'm not with her and that's no rules, then I have to watch TV when I eat, so I bring my iPad. And then I have my headphones, and then I have portable Wi-Fi. Never leave home without that, son. And that's it. That's all I have in there. But it's, you know what, some girl...
Player or a CD player, please.
You know, it's cool. I like it because I usually have a backpack on, and I'm always worried about leaving it somewhere, putting it down and stuff. But it fits a nice little amount of things. I got this here on the floor today. The hand of the Muse. Yes.
All right, so the real question, congratulations on your sobriety, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
How much of you staying sober do you feel like is attributed directly to the podcast itself, and how much is just being friends with a guy like Kev?
That's a good question, bro. Really good. How long? Oh, how long? So how long first is 5 years, 261 days today. Woo! Thank you. I know it's going to check my app earlier and I wrote it on my table, so but thank you very much. More people came in. I'm just going to ask real quick. I found this vapor mod. If anyone vapes and this is their mod, I found it. Anyway, so... Sorry, I blanked on the question. So, sobriety. I would say that the podcast definitely has been a big help continuing to stay sober, for real. You know, just the traveling and talking and telling my story constantly and different stories. I just feel like it keeps it fresh in my head and I don't forget and stuff. Not to mention that, honestly, it's like I remember the first couple of years we did it. Like sometimes I'll have dreams where like I drank and I'll wake up sweating, and like the first thing I think is like, oh my God, now I have to tell everyone that I'm on day one. I only have 1 day sober, which terrifies me. So that's been a big help. On top of, you know, not wanting to disappoint Kevin, or wanting to disappoint the wife, and I have the baby and stuff now, is honestly, I don't want to disappoint everyone who listens, and I've said really, who's been listening and following along all these years and 180 some episodes. I don't want to disappoint people, and especially some people have come up and said like, hey man, my brother was having trouble staying sober, and I had him listen to podcasts, and it helped him stay sober for 6 months now. And I feel like I'd let those people down as well. So I would definitely say that, but definitely over the years, being able to not get really far off track and I mean, I definitely have gone off the deep end, if you will, to where I was like close to being homeless. I would say definitely Kevin's been a big help for that. Perfect example, I feel like if I didn't have Kevin in my life all those years, I probably honestly would have ended up homeless. Like it would have got that bad. Even though it got really bad, it didn't get that bad ever because of Kevin. So again, definitely he's been a big help in that way. And I think the podcast has helped me stay sober. He helped me get sober, and the podcast has helped me stay sober. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello.
So it's not so much a question as I just don't know, another time I will stand here and be able to tell you that Dogma is just awesome.
Thank you.
Totally enjoy it, so a huge thank you for your role in that. And then also just hearing you, your previous answer, talking about how you started to feel a little more confident on that film.
Yeah.
Is there anything, like any stories from set or anything interesting that could particularly
Oh, I wish I did. You know, I need to start trying to pick one out, and when I sit and think, I feel like when I'm on the spot, I try to think about shooting. And I mean, I don't know, funny, I guess what always stands out to me, and it's always told better from Kevin's perspective, is that you know, Alan Rickman, when we found out Alan Rickman was going to be in the movie, and again, going back to the stories about being nervous and drinking and then Mallrats and all that, like Mallrats, I didn't tell this part, I was going to tell this part and I didn't squeeze it in, that, you know, they wanted, and I don't think that they knew about me being so nervous either, just that I had never done anything besides Clerks, excuse me, and I had no training and nothing. the Universal wouldn't pay for me to come out during rehearsals, and they wanted to hire, they had auditions for Jay, and I had auditioned for my own character, and they liked me best, but next to me, because he had experience, they wanted Seth Green to play the role. Yes, Seth Green was on hold to play Jay. And so they wouldn't fly me out or put me up in a hotel while we were rehearsing. Kevin and I went out there because I stayed with Kevin and all that, but they wouldn't put me up or pay me or even hire me until the first day of shooting. The producers were all sitting there from, not all of them, but a bunch of them from Universal, watching me until I shot my first scene, my first 2 scenes, because they wanted to make sure I could get through it and not crack under pressure or what have you. And so really until I was done, after that first day of shooting and me doing my first 2 scenes, they didn't hire me, and Seth Green was on hold, waiting to get word if like, hey man, we're flying you out, you're gonna... So anyway, when Dogma came around, again, I still got through Mallrats, but I was a little nervous and I wasn't 100% confident about it and all that, but I got through it, chasing Amy. When Dogma came, Kevin's like, dude, man, we have Alan Rickman. And Alan Rickman is like the real deal. He's like a British actor, and they invented that shit. And so Kevin got me super nervous. And so while I went out with Kevin for pre-production on Dogma. So that's like a month and 5 weeks before we even start shooting. I went out with Kevin to hang out with him, and I had a lot of free time on my hands, so I wound up memorizing my script and memorizing my character, because I was so nervous about messing up dialogue or messing up when I was in a scene with Alan Rickman. And I winded up reading it so much every day that I wound up memorizing everyone else's character stuff, so I had the whole thing. So Kevin tells it better because he talks about when we were doing rehearsals, and he's like, where's your script? And I was like, I have it memorized. And he's like, come on, you don't have all your stuff memorized already. I'm like, I do. And then we were waiting on Lee, and he's like, Jay, will you read Lee's part, but you don't have your script? I was like, oh, I don't need it. And he's like, come on, really? And anyway, so he tells it better, but that was fun. But I was also, that movie, towards the end, I had met this girl, in the middle really, met this girl, and I winded up relapsing, and they didn't know for a while. And so I would kept going into the bathroom, and they all would be like, man, he's always got diarrhea. Because I'd always be out there, and like, usually they block when you're shooting something, you block. And you're like, all right, you're gonna walk here. When you get to here, you do this, and then grab this, and you're gonna do that. And so you block it out. And then they'll be like, all right, we need a couple more lights here now that we saw where everything's gonna be. And that could take 5 minutes. And usually everyone waits around because it's 5 minutes. But I'd be like, oh, we got 5 minutes, I have to go to the bathroom, I'm sorry. But really, I kept going back to the trailer to do drugs and stuff, which Kevin didn't know till later. Somehow I got through it. But those aren't necessarily funny stories, but those are 2 things that stand out to me that, I wish I wasn't in that place of using and going back to the trailer. But somehow, again, between using and somehow I memorized the script too. It was weird, bless you. But again, Dogma was tons of fun. I mean, it was awesome working with Alanis Morissette, Chris Rock, man, I had such a blast watching him, and Kevin tells another story. Again, these are better stories because I feel like telling stories about me that stand out. But I was, like I said, I relapsed, and when you're shooting, the camera's on whatever, it was on Chris Rock. But I still have to sit there and give him my dialogue so he knows his next thing. So at one point, Kevin started hitting me. Chris was laughing, and Kevin's like, dude, why are you laughing? Like, is that part of what you want to do? And he goes, look. And we were doing the scene, and there was a little break. He's talking to Kevin, and then talking to Linda Florentino. And so I have like 2 minutes, whatever, a minute in between. And while I was waiting, I was like this.